How do you go from this to this in your Minecraft world? My name's Blip Noir, the creator of the City of New Isle, a world I've been building and sharing with the community since the early alpha days. And in this series of videos, I'm going to tell you all about my techniques to help you start your very own Minecraft city. So let's get started on an adventure and let's build a city together. In real estate, they say that the three most important factors in choosing a place to live are location, location, and, you guessed it, location. Building a city in Minecraft is a lot like that, and it's one of the first choices you're going to have to make before placing your very first block. As a city builder, you can also choose to start from a flat world or one that's generated for you. When I started building New Isle in 2010, I didn't have that option, but if I did, I'd still choose a natural world over a flat one, even if I were starting out today. A flat world gives you a lot of room for creativity, and ultimately, you've got a whole lot more control over the terrain since you won't have to smooth anything out, worry about what's underground, or do any extensive terraforming. That's a double-edged sword though. It means that if you want any variety to your terrain, you'll have to make that happen all on your own instead of letting the game do it for you by rendering you chunks as you play and explore. There are some really great maps out there that started from flat worlds, but for the sake of this series, I'm going to focus on how to build a city within a natural world. For me personally, I think a natural world will give your city a unique sense of character with scenery that can't be achieved through building on a flat one, at least not as easily. Choosing to play on a naturally occurring game world means your city and everything around it will rise up and work with the landscapes you discover, much like the cities that we live in the real world. And it means that what you build will be dictated a bit more by nature than by yourself. That means more of a challenge for you as the player, but arguably more of a reward too. But that's just my opinion. So, how do you choose your starting point for your brand new city? What do you have to consider? Personally, I always recommend players pick a key piece of scenery. When I started playing Minecraft, the very first time I spawned in the game world, and I'm still playing and building on that very same map to this day by the way, I spawned on a beach by a little island. It wasn't big enough to build much more than a little dirt hut on, so I started linking a series of islands together to form a new island. New Isle. That's where the name of the city came from, and the place I chose as the city's starting point played a huge part in how the city began to take shape. Think about your own town or city's downtown or oldest neighborhoods. As humans, we've built next to water for eons. We need it for drinking, we need it for food, and we need it for transport. It's just plain practical to have a river, lake, sea, or ocean nearby. It also opens up opportunities for you to build a visually interesting and realistic city because it'll take after how our ancestors have always been doing it. That's not to say you need a source of water nearby, but I think for a first city in a new world, it's going to open up a lot more doors for you over time. You can build a dock for your boats, for instance, or you can build a couple of docks for your townsfolk, or you can really step up your game and build a cargo port. Part of what I hope to achieve in this series is to share some ideas, inspire you, but also help you to think about what it is that motivates you and what you'd like to eventually come up with, even before you start creating. I really recommend thinking about what sort of builds you might want your city to feature at the beginning, even before placing that first block. Do you want to build a village, a town, or a giant sprawling metropolis? Regardless of what you're imagining, the location is going to factor in as you keep adding builds. Things like water, cliffs, or even mountains all make for beautiful scenery, but if you want to fill those in or flatten them out, you might want to consider that before settling your new village, town, or city. You can add them at some point as well, but remember, that can take a lot of work. Scenery also means limitations, which aren't a bad thing by any means. What it'll mean for you when you're building, though, are natural barriers or needs to consider as you add to the city. Think about a place like Vancouver, which can't build out because of the natural limit the mountains have created, or San Francisco, whose hilly terrain meant that it needed to add transport like its famous cable cars for its citizens to get around with. Think about how visually stunning something like the City Bowl in Cape Town is because of the Cape Flats, or how people flock to Rio de Janeiro's Copacabana Beach from all over the world. But that's what I mean about the scenery and landscape of these cities giving these places their character, and it'll give your map that same sense of character and a unique identity if you let your game world shape it instead of the other way around. So, how did you choose where you set up shop? Did you work with the terrain or against it when you began your map? I'd love to know more in the comments to get your perspective on how to start the perfect Minecraft city. Thanks for tuning in to today's episode of How to Build a Minecraft City. If you like this kind of content, be sure to like this video and subscribe to my channel as it'll mean more viewers like you will get a chance to see my content. If you leave a comment, I try to get to all of them if I can. And if you want to check out the City of New Isle for yourself, the download link is in the description below. See you next time, City Builders.